We're the Gameshow Geeks, and we'd like to welcome you to the Target Increment demo. My name's Alex, and I'll be walking you through our final increment deliverables. So, first off, all planned features for the Wheel of Jeopardy game have been completed in this increment. We were also able to complete 2 of our dream features, one of which was completed for this increment, one was completed last time in the minimal. We had to update a portion of the software requirements document to reflect an additional software component that we needed to add to fulfill the implementation of the free turn tokens. Here, before we get into it, we'd like to make a note that at the minimal increment demo, we were slightly behind due to some unforeseen changes within our group. With many planned features having been moved back, we needed to evaluate the work that needed to be completed on the remaining features, highlighted in red here. These were all of them that we could not finish at the minimal. But we're happy to announce that not only did we complete all the features that we had moved back for this release, but we were also able to complete a couple of dream features I had mentioned earlier. So, as I mentioned, these are the features that were completed for the Wheel of Jeopardy game. All planned features, and this includes the graphical interface, online multiplayer, multiple rounds with a game conclusion, and all wheel sector functions have been completed according to the specifications in our software requirements document. In addition, we were able to complete 2 dream features, the animation of the wheel and the editable set of questions, answers, and categories. The animation of the wheel was already shown in the minimal increment, and here in the target increment, we've implemented a solution for converting questions from an easy-to-edit Excel spreadsheet into the JSON format that's used by our question bank system. That way, anyone can easily create their own set of questions and import them into the game. I mentioned earlier, we needed to make a small update to the requirements document to accommodate the token decision and token evaluation components. These pieces were necessary to handle a player receiving a token and then when applicable, deciding on whether to use a token to gain their turn back after losing it for any reason. And finally, we've compiled a list of lessons learned from this project that can be carried on to future projects or for any other students taking this class. Each of these represent either a pain point that we experienced or a success that we thought was notable and would benefit any student taking this class in the future. Some, like the staffing shortages, were sudden obstacles that we needed to pivot around immediately in order to reach the end goal of completing all of these features. Others, like the project complexity, were not as apparent when we had started the project, but these slowly began creeping in on the development team and slowed down some progress as the project neared completion. On the other hand, we felt that we made some good decisions in getting the project to where it is right now, completing certain milestones ahead of schedule, and wasn't planned at the project planning stage, but it did help us maneuver around some of the difficulties we had mentioned earlier. Staying within scope and using open source tools also significantly lightened our development load and helped offset any lost time we might have incurred from our team changes last increment. And lastly, while the review process was not necessarily followed to the point where we had planned initially, we acknowledge that outside of the context of this class, all software teams should adhere to software engineering best practices whenever possible. And I'll now turn it over to Ben for the question bank import demo.
Thank you, Alex. All right, hopefully, can you guys see my screen okay?
Yeah.
How about now?
Yep.
Good.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to demonstrate the capability to import your own custom question set. Here on the left, we're providing this template file, which the user can fill in their own set of 30 questions here. On the right, I've provided an example of what that might look like. So now to run the tool, you'll see our question sets are stored in this folder. And we're providing a tool here in this utility folder called the question bank converter. When the user runs this tool, it'll prompt them to select their Excel file. And upon completion, that question set will now be available with the other question sets in the JSON format that's recognized by our program. So with that, I'll hand it over to Zavio for the remaining portion of the demo.
Okay, so let me know when the screen is ready.
You're good.
Okay, so just to follow with the question bank, again, they are here in a folder, in a question set folder. First two were kind of similar that was created previously, but now we have a third set that Ben just created. Basically, it's more complicated, so we have a different question set to see in just a moment. During the minimum demo, it was not very clear that we were able to run more than 2 players. We were able to run 3 players or even more if we wanted to. And so in this demo, we're going to show on my Windows local host machine, I can run one instance here, and on a remote control and on a VM, on the VM I'll run a Ubuntu version. They're the exact same code, but it's just running on different OS to show that it can happen. And on the this is another instance. It's on a MacBook, so Mac OS, and it's on Python, so it's cross-platform very easily. It looks slightly different on the Mac, but that's because of the GUI library, the Tinkster library, being slightly different. That's okay. So for this demo, I will showcase 2 separate trials. I'll say the first time I'll limit the spin counter to 5 instead of 50, so that we can see how it transites between rounds. And the second trial I would do is I will bump this up into 10,000, so that we can finish up all the 30 questions. Because with only 50 spins, most of the time we couldn't finish all the 30 questions. So for the first time, I'll run it 5 counts. So now I'm starting a server on my Windows machine, just through a Wi-Fi network. This is the client that I just start on this side. And I started with a user ID 157, moving to the back and the Ubuntu. I'll start it with the user ID 1601. So connecting to my the IP address, as you can see, it's my main PC's IP address. It can be a public IP address if I register one, but here's only the Wi-Fi network. On the Mac, it's using a user ID 1234. Again, it's popping up. As I mentioned, it's slightly different between the apparently the Linux one looks identical to the Windows one, but the Mac one looks slightly different. Anyway, so right now they just started the client. The server can kind of see the connection, but none of them is ready. So to start, I need to get them ready. And also this one is to be ready. The status on all the client, and right now it should be client on 1, 2, 3, 4 to do the spinning. So spin, and it landed on TV category. It shows the question and the answer on all the clients, and for clients that are not the active player, they're not allowed to choose or do anything. Everything's grayed out. They can only watch the status bar to see what's going on. So this is the question set 3 that Ben just created earlier. There was some slight trick here for demo purpose. We kind of put a dot in the front of the right answer. So for easy demo purpose, so I'm going to submit this, and it's a correct answer, so I can spin again. And again, all the clients are notified. Can see the score. So spin again. And then food, answer incorrectly this time. And since we don't have any token, when I click answer, it will automatically evaluate that you don't have tokens to spend, so it goes on to the next client. If you have token to spend, it will enable the token options that you can pick. So incorrect answer, the correct answer is A, no token, so the next player play. They want this player gone bankrupt, but it doesn't have any score, so it's just gonna move on to the next person. And then the math, score back to this guy, 200, spin again. This. So round 1 was over. It was only 5 counts. I'm sure you were keeping track of this value, but round 1 is over. It's shown here on the status menu as always, and it will tell you beginning of the second round and who can continue to play the first hand. So again, it was swapped to a different question set as well. If you would notice, it changed the naming and reset the question board. So now everything start brand new. If there were a token, it will also be reset, but the score for each round won't be reset. So now it's a different set, and this question set is even more straightforward. Only 1 answer is right one. And it landed on loose turn, and since we don't have token, again we pass on to the next person. If there were token, we could also use this option. We could try out next trial. Land on technology, instruction, and other question is to sync. Currently get the score. Sign. Player's choice. You can pick any category. So now I'm going to click music, and as you can see, it also pop up on the other players game board. So it happens in real time, and the question and answer synchronized. Sir. Game over for the second round, since it's only 5 rounds. And this is the end, and all the score are evaluated, and it will tell based on the status message, who is the winner, and we can see that player 1, 2, 3, 4 is the highest score and is first the winner. It's not going to say who lose because if you know who is the winner, you know who didn't win. All the players can see that. It wasn't clear in the minimal demo that we couldn't finish the game, but now it's very clear that whether it's a round being over or the entire game, 2 rounds of it over, it will be shown in the status message on all the clients at all time. And the game flow here ended a game of 2 rounds, and you can continue to play again as soon as you press the ready button on all the players for the next game. And it randomized 2 sets of a question again. Circle log, it randomized. This time it's another 2 sets of a question, as you see here, and the game start again. And this time it's play 157 to start. Just to play 1 spin, it shows that it is still working. Oh, this time it's actually opponent's choice, so it's a good demo too. I play 1, 2, 3, 4, supposed to pick the category, and if I pick anything myself, it's not gonna have any effect because it's the opponent's choice. And I'll pick let's try science this time. So science picked, and it showed to all the clients. It's a play 1, 2, 3, 4 pick category, science for play 1, 3, 7, showing question, and only 1, 3, 7 user can submit an answer. So everything is really synchronized and correctly. Answer B, you continue to play. Oh, it gone bankrupt. As you can see, the score just gone to 0 as well. Let's quit the game for now. We'll start again using 10,000 rounds so that we can finish other category to show that yes, it can also complete. Right? So submit the server because we have to modify a hard-coded limit. Usually this doesn't have to be changed, just 50 because it's the game business rule, but for demo purpose, we will show it this. Cool. Again, starting the client, nothing special here. Getting ready, and getting ready. Again, 2 sets of questions are randomized, and you can see 10,000 times to spin for these games. We don't have to spin all of 10,000 times because the game rule says either you complete the spin, which we showed earlier, 5 spin completed pretty quickly, the round will just complete, and the game will just complete for both rounds, or all the questions are answered. So this time, actually show all the question being answered. And if for any game rules that we haven't come across yet, for example, the token, we should be able to see better this time. So 1, 3, 7 to start. Land, right there, free tokens, free turn, land on free turn. Token +1, you can see it showing up here on the scoreboard. Everybody can see that too. Can increase. So spin again. Counts dropping. Land on player's choice. So let's pick food. Chips. How's the brand of chips? Lay's. This one, spin again. Sector actually means spin again, so do that. Land on opponent's choice. Next player pick it for him or her. I'll pick. Sure. Let's go with food again. So it show up again. Other option are grayed out for the people irrelevant, just waiting, watching the game, and the main player can play. That's the right answer. Correct. Can spin again. I'll continue to do the same thing until I accumulate a few of the token, so it can be demo better for the. It gone bankrupt, but that's fine. The business rule did not say the token would be erased if bankruptcy happened. It's just that the score for the current round would be eliminated, 0 out, and then pass on to the next person, like losing the round. So 1, 2, 3, 4 will pick up from here. I'm gonna just answering correctly because I want to focus my action here on the token. So I'm intentionally answering incorrect. I can score, drop to my negative. That's fine. Can have negative score and continue to the next player because you don't have token. So now it's this guy's choice. Land on food. Again, I'll intentionally answer incorrectly. Minus 600. So one thing to notice as well is this is the first round. So the score are always matching the scoreboard. On the second round, you will see later, scores are double and we can verify it. So no token. Continue to the next person. City will answer correctly. Answer correctly. Answer correctly. So it's getting close. Once the category is I'll answer the option, the category option will be gray out as well, so nobody can pick it further. And we'll see in just a moment. Spin again. Business. Currently, and return another token, which is good because we want to show it on both an answer incorrectly and a loose turn. So there are only 2 kind of scenario where you can use a token. It's when you land on loose turn or when you answer incorrectly. Since we have 2 tokens right now, we can use one to just see how it goes. So I landed on free turn, so I'm gonna spin again to get the next one first. I landed on a question. My current score is 2,000. I landed on game, so it should be a 400 points question. If we answer incorrectly, it should drop to 1,600. Proceed, I answer, and the question for answers here. Answer an incorrect question. So now incorrect, the answer is B, checking tokens for this player. Remember, when there were no token on the other players, it would skip straight through. No need to show this option to the players. The other one are just watching, knowing that player 157 is making a decision. You can choose not to use it if for strategic reason you want to use it safer to the last, when the high score question available. So we can show this first, and later on, once I get back to this user, I can use a token for an correct answer. So here, I'm not going to use a token. I'll click the don't use token button, and it will continue to the next player as if nothing happened. But the score, as you see, it's already deducted 400 points out of it because it answered incorrectly, whether you use a token or not. Don't use token. Token did not decrease. Next players to play. Answering incorrectly just so that we can pass it back to. Oh, see here, it landed on a loose turn. If you have a token, right, you can do the same kind of a token checking mechanism, but since there's no token, it goes to a different player immediately without having the trouble of making decision. City. Red. Slightly laggy since I'm running. Oh, and oh, it landed on this player on the last question. It landed on the cities category, and it popped the last question, and which is why you got 1,000 points deducted. And this time, when this player spin again, it landed on a category that has been fully answered. And so it will show that it landed on this category. However, it's already completed, so spin again. That still count towards a spin. So which is why when you only have 50 spin, it's not likely that you will finish all the question. Player's choice, pick a question that's popping that it's answering correctly. Right, don't use token right now. This person spin. Choice. Do this. Answer wrong. Answer. Continue with this guy. And turn. So here's a loose turn when you have token, and you can again choose to use it or not to use it. I'll show custom not using it first. Not use it. So loose turn, token did not drop. Next person. See, when you lose turn, you have no token. Don't bother asking. Just next. Definitely next person. Answer incorrectly with the question. Also, you can choose it. Don't use this one. Animal completed. So spin again. Start wrong. And player's choice. Start wrong. Next person. Spin again. And play the category. And play the category. And again. Choice. So I'll give you this question. So currently, and gone bankrupt. This person. Choice. Category. Person. Sorry, category. Technology. Sorry, correct. Bankrupt again. Person. Turn. Sick. Okay. And did it spin again? Did it spin again? Did it spin again? Did it spin again? And spin again. Player's choice. I cannot pick the other one because they're all occupied already, right? And it landed on lose turn. This time we have tokens, right? We promised to show the opposite path, like use token. So use it, can continue to play. It won't pass on to the next person. Token use, continue. So I think this show all the business rule of all the sector. Lose turn was shown, bankrupt was shown, all the question category was shown, player's choice was shown, opponent's choice was shown. What's this one? Spin again was shown, and free spin was shown by adding a token. All these sectors are fully implemented, and the last thing to show is that it will complete the round when all the questions are fully answered. Again, again, again. Bankrupt. Spin again. Opponent's choice. Give you this category. Insert. Choice again. Cool. Pick this question. Answer currently. Again. Bankrupt. Again, just need one last question being found. Opponent's choice. Cool. This is the last question. Once I answer it, it should show the second round thing, right? So 1,000 score because everybody gone bankrupt. Round one is over. Beginning round two. we won't go into the second round with all the spin, but it shows that when all the questions are answered, it will move on to the next round, like as the game round is completed. And we also showed earlier if the spin count down to 0, it's also completed. That should conclude the demonstration for all the game rules, and it's fully functional, no feature is missing, and the wheel animation and the GUI are all completed, and Ben demoed earlier that the editor for questions are also available. So that's the end of our project. We could have polished more things for performance issue and more testing. One thing we regret that we didn't do more is obviously the testing effort. We originally tried to schedule them for like around the demo time, but we simply don't have enough manpower. I think the scope of trying to implement so many features that we didn't have deep experience with. For example, all the socket server framework that we never used before. This way we know the basic socket programming. So it takes some time to learn the frameworks. It takes time to learn multi-threading in Python. Also the dictator GUI library that we have never used either. It takes time to pick all these libraries up, which eats up our time in terms of completing the design, the implementation, and also the features, but also giving enough time to do code review and design review, all the review. We mentioned in the lesson learned documentation that we didn't have enough review and didn't have enough testing. In practice, in a real project at work also, we should really allocate more time for this review. It will help us in figuring out all these requirements or details of the project, of the business rule that we didn't anticipate. For example, the token decision, which was not even deemed necessary. At the beginning, we didn't know it needed a special state just to take user input. Right? By taking input from the user, it needs to be in a separate state than just doing the logic from the server and determining the you have token or not. So these details would have been discovered if we had the design and requirement review more rigorously at the beginning. And but it's a good thing that we do source control. We have our repository here, and we can track our branches. We try to keep as much branches as possible, and we do some pull requests at the beginning, but we fall behind lately when we try to complete the feature in time. And when the expertise in the library itself kind of falls behind because not everybody's working on the same feature, and there's discrepancy in the library knowledge. Despite we trying to do some peer programming and like demos within the team, internal demo, it's still lag behind in the knowledge on some libraries. So it takes time for different teammates to be gain expertise in certain libraries and to be capable to reveal enough code. So this effort was kind of drop in the middle, maybe around the minimum demo time frame. In reality, this should have more time to for everybody to pick up or have more stakeholder, more experienced people in the company will be able to help out, more principal engineers or so, right? They should be able to help and keep an eye on the best practice, safety standard, or any sort of standard of coding practice. And that's something we should have done better. However, as a summary to this project, we did a good amount of documentation. Everything we had, it's on a shared drive in this kind of deliverable documents. Maybe in practice, we could have documented more on a Confluence wiki page kind of format versus a shared document. Wiki Confluence is more like the newer style of documentation, and which is fine. But we have some good amount of documentation here. We did follow the roadmap pretty closely, other than the testing effort. But we completed all the features on time and within scope. So it's the journey of our project. Ben, Alex, do you have any last word that you want to say? We learned for this class.
I think you covered it pretty well, Xavier.
Yeah,
I'll just say thanks everyone for your time and attention in this demo.
Thank you very much for all the effort. There are many roles in the projects. So many different stakeholders taking responsibility. So it definitely helps out with multiple people. And closing word is we won't submit this lesson learned as a separate document, but it's just this chart here for the recommendation for the bad thing that we didn't do well and the good thing that we do well, and also the recommendation for in practice. So thank you so much. We are the Gameshow Geeks, and thank you for this class. Thank you, professors. Thank you, teams.
Thank you.